think data and technology have always played an important role in the industry, but will continue to play even more important role going forward. As I think back on my own career, when I started, right, we were working with PCs, and we moved to the internet, and then most recently AI, and then lots of changes in between. But during that whole time, the industry has continued to evolve, and we as advisors have worked with it. Now, what I always think is sort of funny about where we are now is that over the years, if I look back to when I started as an advisor, I did a lot of the same things that I do now. Meaning, I would ask a lot of questions for a client. I would be thinking about their needs. I would be trying to figure out in my mind's eye what team I wanted to put around them to do everything we could possibly for them. And if you really think about that and boil it down to its component parts, arguably that hasn't changed at all. However, underneath that, the technology and the data that we use to do all those things has changed dramatically. So I think a couple of things are going to happen in the future. One is, I think we're going to use data and ingest information, if you will, much better than we ever have. Meaning, when someone comes in as a new client, we receive their tax returns, their personal financial statements, their trust and estate documents, lots of information. And I would say over the years, we haven't ingested that very well and leveraged that well on their behalf, and also other clients' behalf who might benefit from that knowledge. That said, going forward, we're going to be able to do much more of that, much faster. Concurrently, I think that the relationship team that actually supports clients in some ways hasn't changed, meaning there's an advisor and an assistant and some other support. But I think going forward, what's really going to change is people have been so comfortable with sort of this multi-layer client management, relationship management team, with an advisor being at the point for the most complex questions, an assistant, if you will, helping kind of get things done and execute. And I think the third layer that's going to be really comfortable going forward is sort of that agentic or chatbot or smart assistant role that's really going to change things. We're getting so comfortable accessing data we need and information we need at those different hierarchies, and I think that's only going to continue to improve and move faster as the years go by. I think artificial intelligence is going to have a massive impact on the industry, and we're seeing it already at this point. When I think about artificial intelligence and I think about the client experience right now, I sort of divide it into 4 phases. If you think about a client experience, there are certain first impressions that take place when a wealth advisement firm is working with a client. And then if the client decides to come on board, there's an onboarding process. And then you're actually doing some work. Maybe it's investments or banking or fiduciary services. And then there's a phase called fulfillment, which is the statements that people receive, or the events that they are invited to, or the pieces of paper from white paper perspective they're asked to read, and so forth. And when you think about that entire client experience, arguably almost every element of what I just described could be supported by AI. So for example, at the very early stages, the types of marketing we'll be doing in the future from a customization and personalization standpoint are going to be massively changed. Meaning we'll be able to really segment down to one person exactly what they're looking for and what we can deliver. When we're onboarding from a digital perspective, again, will just be done much more quickly, digital signatures being one example. And then when we're servicing clients, we're now going to be able to not only ingest, as I would say, lots and lots of data from tax returns, personal financial statements, fiduciary statements. We'll be able to ingest that information, come up with great next best actions on behalf of those clients, as well as other clients that might benefit from the services we provide. And then last but not least, on the fulfillment side, I think we're going to be able to do marketing much better. Meaning from a customization standpoint, we'll be able to get the right white papers that are most relevant to people. We'll be able to invite people to events that they'll really enjoy and get that special touch that we're all trying to achieve. So lots of change, lots of opportunity, really exciting. From a personalization standpoint, we're going to be able to do amazing work in the industry going forward with artificial intelligence. For example, we are now going to be able to take information that clients provide us when they first become clients to then figure out what the next best action is going to be. We're going to be able to work with them in ways that they work in their regular lives. And that's really the expectation right now, that the digital experiences that clients have in their everyday life is what they have to have with us as well. So I think that's one major change. And the other area of change that'll take place from a personalization standpoint will be the ability to really customize to a segmentation of one. Now I'll be able to really figure out what is a client most interested in, what's the most relevant information that they would like, and also at the same time, what are the activities, what are the experiences they would most like to have with us. When I think about competition in the industry, it's very hard in many ways to compete on some of the services we provide. Banking products, investment products, trust and estate products. But what we are able to influence and actually control is that client experience, that advisor experience, and that marketing experience. So for every one of our clients going forward, we're going to be able to really figure out how best to work with them in a way that makes them feel like, as I said before, they're our only client.